back. WNST end of fake football. We got a little bit left, and then we're going to move on and have some real football. The Buffalo Bills are going to be here. I don't know how Dennis Koulatsos has made it through this summer on these Thursday shows that he's done in the middle of baseball season. Boy, nothing on the baseball side here, but the football soap opera has already begun, right, Dennis? Whether it's Lamar Jackson getting drafted and the team's health and all of that, me asking that stupid question of Harbaugh 2 weeks ago about the health of the team. Now the health is a little bit of a concern here, I think, leading into the first game. And the biggest concern is we really haven't seen the full entity. The parts of the team we've seen we like, defensively, offensively, all of that. But we haven't seen it all sort of work together yet. And I think that's part of the anxiety and the anticipation that we're looking forward to with the Bills game on the 9th.
Hey, I would agree with Nestor. I think most teams haven't played their starters this offseason, which is of great concern to the NFL. Brass and all sorts of fans alike. I mean, it's 2 games too many. I think we can all agree we'd be better off with just 2 preseason games. When you look at college teams, they have no preseason games. They just tee it up and get after it. But the injuries are a big factor. We've seen some superstars lost for the year. For the Ravens, it hasn't been them as bad in years past, but when your number 1 draft pick overall, Hayden Hurst, he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. And, the good thing is we get our information real quick due to the wonderful WNST tech service.
Brought to you by Coons Florida Security Boulevard. I want to point that out as well.
That is correct. That is fabulous. Jaleel Scott, 4th-round draft pick, placed on injured reserve this morning, which helps the chances of Jadarian Grant and Tim White, opens up the door wide open for them. So that's what it's all about, and I think we're all tired of it. But there are some great things that we saw in the preseason game. Now, for myself, Nestor, I watch the preseason. I don't watch them live. I watch a condensed version in 45 minutes, commercial-free. I see the entire game. I'm able to slow it down, fast forward, do all kind of great things with it. So,
by the way, I've enjoyed the preseason more when Coach Billick is calling the games. I mean, literally, even in the 3rd and 4th quarter. And I'm going to tell him this. I'm not even kissing his butt, but he's such an astute guy about football. He's such a coach. He's speaking his mind in real terms in the 3rd and 4th quarter. I really have enjoyed that part of watching the fake football from Miami. And as a matter of fact, even on Thursday night, watching the game at the stadium, I would almost prefer to stay home and watch it on TV just to hear the observations because I think he's been really good at it.
Oh, he's been excellent. He's getting local and national praise for his work during the broadcast, which is why, again, I go back the next day and I watch the All-22 film so I can hear him. I can see all 22 players on the field at the same time. I can break down game film. I can slow it down and watch DeLance Turner take it to the house, and I can see Matt Skura pulling, and I can also see the tight end Mark Andrews making a nice heel block, stuff you just don't ordinarily see. So I'm able to really break it down and really get geeked out about what these players are doing with every specific play as I choose to.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He hosts our Sunday Sports Voice, now heard on Thursdays from 3 until 5. Catch it live. Luke and I will be joining him in anticipation of fake football with the Redskins. And, of course, we'll tee it up for the real thing next week. Your observations on where we are with the quarterback situation, the 3rd quarterback. Luke thinks it's not a fait accompli. Last week, I would have put it at 90% because I think they were telling the media to pitch that. I think they were basically saying we're going to keep 3 quarterbacks. I don't know how they feel about Lamar Jackson and him running around last week a little bit more as well. I guess the point is if Joe Flacco goes down early in the year and something catastrophic happens, they're probably not going to find a Nick Foles here anyway. But, and Lamar Jackson, I don't know that I've seen enough of it first team in a real-life scenario. When he's running around for his life out there in the 3rd quarter, playing against second and third teamers with second and third teamers, I don't know what I learned. I know he can run. I know that much.
No, he just had his best outing. He looked very comfortable in the pocket. He set his feet. He made good reads. The stage wasn't too big for him, so he is progressing nicely. I think his performance dims slightly the chances of RG3 making the team, but RG3 has also acquitted himself very well. He took the number 2 team against the Dolphins' number 1 defense and had a nice drive there. I think he's done well enough for himself to make the roster. If I'm Ozzie Newsome at this point, I keep him for 2 reasons. Number 1, to protect against an early season injury by Joe Flacco. Number 2, he could very well be some valuable trade bait going forward as the season progresses. Even in Philadelphia, you mentioned Nick Foles. He hasn't looked real good in the preseason. He looked terrible so far. And Carson Wentz at this point is 50-50 whether he starts in the next 15 games. So I think you have a very valuable commodity because RG3 has shown great leadership. He's been a great teammate. He's been great on the sideline, great in the film room. He's been a great influence on Lamar Jackson. So for my money, I think you have a valuable commodity. This is still the number 2 pick overall. Just a few years ago, he's still very young. His arm is very live, which we have seen. He's got great command of the offense. He's respected. So for my money, at this point, and I don't think it's going to change, I think the business thing to do is to keep RG3 on the roster for all the reasons that I just listed.
He is Dennis Koulatsos. He's out of Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Can you imagine, and it's the first time I've thought about this, if they put a package in where Flacco, RG3, and Lamar Jackson are all out on the field at the same time, right? Like, that probably would confuse the living hell out of everybody if that were the case. But in that being said, I look at Lamar Jackson as being a specialist. I talked to Coach Billick about this last week. I don't really look at him as a second quarterback. I look at him as a 5th or 6th wide receiver or a guy that you're going to implement into the offense in different ways, not as a traditional, well, he's my second quarterback. He's going to sit there until my first guy gets hurt.
See, my opinion, Nestor, is that this is Joe Flacco's last year under center for the Ravens, no matter what he does. I think the future is Lamar Jackson. I think they've seen enough of him where they construct an offense next year to fit his strengths. Keep in mind, he's still running Joe Flacco's offense, and so is RG3. The RG3 and Lamar Jackson, they're not West Coast quarterbacks. They're a different type of a breed of a quarterback. And I think if the team moves away from Joe Flacco next season, you'll see a much different team, a much different offense. I think because of the running threat by Lamar Jackson and RG3, these guys are a lot more difficult to game plan for than Joe Flacco is, who's a traditional drop back passer. It's going to be a very interesting season for those reasons. But for me, I like what I've seen out of all 3 quarterbacks, and it's bad enough for a defensive coordinator, as we talk about just this season alone, to game plan for 1 quarterback. But when you talk about game planning for 2, perhaps 3 quarterbacks, it'll put a lot of pressure on that defense. So, look, I'm excited to see what this thing looks like once they unleash it. And I don't know that I buy that Lamar Jackson is a specialist. Maybe for this season, but I think next year you'll see them put their eggs in the Lamar Jackson basket. And I don't think he's done anything right now to deter them from that. I think he is where he should be as a rookie quarterback at this stage of the season.
But do you believe he's going to win 13 games somewhere down the line?
I do. I really think. I think he's a dynamic, special player. I think he's a generational player. I think the sky's the limit for this young man. I think he's a natural-born leader. And if you build the offense to cater to his strengths, which they have not done. I mean, they can't do it because he's a different quarterback than Joe Flacco. I mean, he's going through his progressions. He's setting his feet. He's running when he's supposed to. If he could just learn how to get down early, I think it's the biggest thing that they need to impress upon him. Just slide, just get down, because he is electric, man. When he talks that ball and takes off down the field, he's very slippery. We've all seen that.
Well, catching him is not going to be the issue. The issue is throwing on the run, which we saw an upgrade about that over the weekend against the Dolphins.
Yeah, no question about it. But he does open up that offense. He does give the receivers time to get downfield and get away from the defensive back. He does add a different element than your average quarterback. He's way above average in a lot of areas. And once the game slows down for him, I think he'll be able to continue to do great things. He's very smart. He gets the game. He understands. And, again, it's just nice to see him have his best outing in a preseason as he continues to progress. I don't know what we'll see in the fourth game. I'm not sure who's going to play in the fourth game. The fourth game, to me, is a disaster. I mean, it's against the Redskins, but
it's not the fourth; it's a fifth. You're not even getting the math right. It's the fourth for the Redskins. It only feels like the ninth. I agree with you. God. It does feel that way.
It's the fifth game, but look, I'm excited about what we've seen out of our draft picks. I mean, Anthony Everett, he was on my radar early. He's played real big at cornerback in the spots that they put him in, and you got to feel good about the defense. They're going to be without Jimmy Smith and also Willie Henry to open up the season, 2 big parts of their defense. But they have a ton of depth. I mean, this team is very deep, particularly on defense at all 3 levels. We've seen Tim Williams and Darius Smith step up, so they should have an outside rush pressure to give Suggs a break. And Matt Judon should have a monster year. So this defense should be good at all 3 levels. Just can't wait to see. And the Bills, I mean, they look to be a bit of a mess, and they're going to walk into trap against the Ravens when they opened up against us. I expect us to blow out the Bills on opening day for sure.
Well, I think we're all hoping for that. There's no doubt about that. That beating the Bills, you lose to the Bills, all of this confidence, all of this vibe goes away. I would say this: we feel real good about the defense right now, and I don't think there's been anything that says to me this defense does not have a top 5 kind of mentality at this point, that it can be very, very good this year.
Well, it's obvious so far. The early returns are good. They can put pressure on the quarterback. And in this league, if you don't put pressure on the quarterback, you're dead. I mean, you have guys that can get the ball out of their hand very quick, guys like Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger, so you can't even touch them. But the fact that they can break down the pocket and attack you from so many different ways, and again, health is the key. Brent Urban has looked like a monster just like the year ago when he was healthy. Michael Pierce has showed up big. These guys can break down that pocket. We get that outside rush going, and Tim Williams especially, he looks real good coming off the edge. The guy can bend like nobody else, and if they can get some turnovers, and man, this team could be very, very good. I'm with you. I think it's a top 5, perhaps a top 3 defense. I mean, they could be the number 1 defense in the NFL. Hopefully the number 1 when it counts, which is on 3rd down and 4th down to get the offense off the field.
Dennis Koulatsos is here. He's over at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. He'll be here on Thursday as well with the SSV on WNST. You can follow that out on Twitter as well as find him out there. Tell me what's going on out of Coons Florida, because you got Labor Day coming up here. Football. All cars are purple this time of year, right? No burgundy, no gold, none of that, right?
They're all purple. We have our huge Labor Day coming up. This is the incentives are out there already, so everybody can come out right now and get those savings and not worry about picked over inventory. We'll have a ton of vehicles in stock. We have all colors and all kind of equipment. I mean, over 200 F-150s in stock, Nestor, over 100 Mustangs. So if you want a drop top, a nice convertible, still a great time to come get one. And, of course, the best-selling vehicle of all time, the F-150, just flying off the shelf. The deals have never been better, and nobody puts more money in trades than I do, Nestor. I give people a lot more than the car's worth because I got to get it. I can't sell what I don't have, so I don't mind giving extra to our customers.
Dennis Koulatsos can be found at the SSV on WNST as well as on Thursdays and Sundays, and anytime we feel like having him on to talk football as well. I want to go back to something you said that was predictive, because I don't hear you doing the crystal ball thing. You speak with great confidence about a lot of things, but this was predictive. You think Joe Flacco's done at the end of this year, no matter how it turns out. That's kind of a bold statement to say, no matter how good he'll be this year, they would walk away from him. I wonder how good is too. Is 10-6 good? Is one playoff game, one playoff win? Where is that line as far as we want Joe Flacco to be our quarterback, that he would give us the best chance to win a championship again next year? I don't know where that is, but I'd like to think that Joe Flacco is far from done here if he goes out and wins 10, 11, 12 games this year.
Well, again, Joe's looked good so far in the preseason, Nestor, but he's going up against vanilla defense. So let's see what happens when he's got to go up against complex schemes and zones and whatnot. Let's see if he can set his feet and see where we go from there. Do I think 10-6 is good enough? No. I mean, I don't know if 12-4. I think anything short than a Super Bowl victory might be the only way. That's just my personal feeling, but looking at the tea leaves and the investment they made in the young quarterback and what they're going to do to support him, I still see Joe Flacco in a different uniform next season. Wild scenarios that Tom Brady wins his 6th Super Bowl, rides off into the sunset, and we get a number 1 draft pick out of the New England Patriots for Joe Flacco, as Bill Belichick has seen what Joe can do. That's how I see it.
You've written the book. You've already written. That's not fiction. That's foretelling. I'm going to have to get you a cape and a crystal ball is what I'm going to have to do, Den.
That's the movie that I see. I see it playing out that way. I don't know why, but that's my prediction.
So he's not going to Pittsburgh to fill in for Roethlisberger. He's going to New England.
Not going to Pittsburgh, but New England needs a quarterback after Tom Brady retired. I mean, they have no one in the wings right now. Brian Hoyer's not the heir apparent, that's for sure. And Joe does have some gas left in his tank, and if Bill feels that this is the guy who can win with a big arm, and if not Ozzie, but Eric DaCosta feels like they need to move away and that let's invest our time, our resources, and our money in the young quarterback Lamar Jackson. If they think he at this point may have a higher ceiling than Joe Flacco, I can see them making the move at the end of the year in the offseason.
Joe Flacco in another jersey. I haven't thought about that one yet, as far as what that helmet would look like or wherever. But, I know what I would send. I'd send Joe a text and say, hey, good luck up in New England. Don't be eating any avocado ice cream is probably what I would tell him. Dennis is over at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. And, of course, the SSV on WNST heard on Thursdays from 3 until 5. Anything you want to say about the Terps and the Orioles? I just want to give you the forum to do that because you and I haven't really gone toe-to-toe on the Terps thing yet. I'm looking forward to doing that with you at length at some point.
Yeah, the Terps with the story there. I mean, the College Park, it's a mess. I mean, it just is. DJ Durkin to me should step down. He shouldn't be there. I mean, that program needs a fresh start. There's no excuse for what happened under his watch.
Well, it's amazing you say fresh start. They got a fresh start. They play Texas this week. It's a fresh season. I have literally, right? I mean, they're 0-0. They beat this team last year. Half of Texas is flying into this game down in the Redskins Stadium. I don't know what it'll look like. I mean, I have talked to some people that say the football team's been pretty insulated, and they're just going to go play football. Okay. They're happy to play football, and that they're not bad, and that they have been well recruited and well coached and ready to go play these games in the Big Ten. I know they're going to go play these games. I wonder what the score is going to be at halftime. I really do.
It's interesting. You know what they had a great freshman incoming class, and we'll see if these freshies are ready to play and if they're ready to show up some big offensive linemen on that team. We'll watch the game and go from there. But certainly, they do have a bit of a cloud at College Park. As far as the Orioles are concerned, you know more about them than I do. We have a lot of young blood, and you need a scorecard to keep track of who's in the game. And they're swinging away, but hopefully it's going to be a very interesting offseason, right? With the manager and the Cat, to see if the Cat comes back, which all signs like I said he's coming back. Am I right?
I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting. It's kind of like with the Papal visit, right? You just wait for the smoke to appear, and then I go to Twitter and see whatever Rock Kabako tells me because they sign his check. So, I have to listen for I have no idea. I mean, the whole thing continues to smack of the bizarre, including the fact that they can't win, that they lose every night. You literally, and they're playing now for this number 1 draft pick. So God bless Bobby Witt Jr. Hope he doesn't give him the Eli Manning okey doke, right? When they draft him anyway. But time will tell. But I think they're going to be bad enough to get the number 1 pick. I'm convinced of that, Dennis. I'll put that in my. If your crystal ball is Joe Flacco won't be the quarterback next year, my crystal ball is they will get the number 1 pick. They'll do by any means necessary. They can seal it this weekend by just rolling over on the Royals.
Well, they should at this point. I mean, they should play for the number 1 draft pick. That's the business thing to do. They should absolutely tank these games. I mean, there's nothing good to come out of this season anyway. So if the best thing is that we get a number 1, the best player in baseball, the best draft picks, then let's go for it. I'm all for that. Plus, look, I did like those bright orange uniforms the other night. I don't know if you saw them or not, but I liked them.
Oh, come on, man! Pajamas, really? You're just saying that to stir me up, really?
I knew that would get you a little poke, but as I was flipping through the channels, it did stop me for a minute just to look at him, admire him.
And what did you do? And what did you say? Did you say did they move to the beer league softball league, or are they playing JUCO college games now, or what are they playing out there?
Look, I kid you not. I went online and I googled Orioles pajamas because that's what I thought they were. I thought they were marketing a new pajama line.
Oh, hold on. If I Google Oriole pajamas, you know what shows up? Oh, my God. There's a one-piece men's onesie.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh.
That's exactly what I saw.
Honey, I want this for my 50th birthday. Can you get this?
Which by the way, looked better than the uniforms the other night.
How in the hell did I begin this conversation with you and wind up on webundies.com?
I would have rather seen them wear the Orioles pajamas, the official Orioles pajamas, and those god-awful orange uniforms the other night.
These things are only $35, but it says right here, if they catch on fire, that you'll die. I'm sorry, I'm making that part up. 100% polyester fleece.
There you go.
I ran into, when I think of onesies, there's only one human being on earth who ever wore a onesie with full conviction. and that was JJ from Good Times, if you remember.
Yes, he did.
And
he was thin enough. He could pull it off.
Well, he looked dynamite. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Kid dynamite.
He was on my flight back from Vegas last week and a half ago when I was out in Yellowstone.
Really?
Yeah, 6 o'clock in the morning. I got off the plane in Vegas, Dennis, and I ran into Louis Anderson, who I had at the Super Bowl on the show. And I'm always talking about becoming a comedian, like doing a stand-up bit. And here's the problem. I'll have to work blue on the stage, and then guys like you won't want to sponsor me if I work blue, you know what I mean? So I don't think I could get on stage without working blue. But either way, Louis Anderson's trying to talk me into becoming a comedian. When I land, the next morning I go back to the airport, and Jimmy Walker is sitting next to me. I turned to my wife. I reached over to tie my shoe, and I turned to her. I'm like, that's JJ from Good Times. I had him in the studio once, and sure enough, it was him, and we talked, whatever. But JJ from Good Times would look good in this onesie, and I think that even he would look better than the Orioles. I call them the spaceship jerseys. I call them like the Jetsons jerseys, right? Don't they look a little bit like that?
They do. But the onesie, this thing is a deal, man. $70 regular, it's $35. It's half price, so now's the time to get one.
And it's machine washable, and it has two pockets, one for each hand.
There you go.
And it's good. It's imported. Only the best stuff. All right, we'll see you soon. Be well, and we'll see you on Thursday. How about that?
Take care. Thanks.
Fake football. It brings out the worst in all of us. I'm on webundies.com looking at Orioles onesies because Dennis Koulatsos made me do it. Somehow I Googled Orioles pajamas. There are some nice pants here that, Jim Palmer would look good in these. There's no doubt about that. On this Fanatic site here. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. I am on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram. I'm on Dennis's show on Thursday, the SSV on WNST. And, of course, if you get on our WNST tech service, you get all the breaking news first, even the news you don't want when it's Hayden Hurst getting injured. Big thanks to Dennis and everybody out there for all the sponsorship around here. All of our great WNST sponsors. I got Sporticulture on. We're going to have some flowers here on the set beginning next week as we get ready for Raven season. You can learn more about them at Sporticulture.com. I'm Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.